Barrett-Jackson was finally back in Las Vegas. It was more than a year and a half, but boy, the pent-up demand showed people were ready. Hi, I'm Rick DeBrule. Welcome to the Barrett-Jackson Top 10 Series. I'm here with Craig Jackson. Craig, after more than a year and a half, finally getting back to Las Vegas, it was a great moment, wasn't it?
It was. You know, we're back in Vegas, a whole new venue, so everything was a little bit different. People came out, and boy, it was nice to have a real Barrett-Jackson again. We had a great selection of cars, and the buyers responded.
All right, so let's run down the top 10 sales for the Barrett-Jackson collector car auction in Las Vegas. And number 10 is really cool right off the bat. It's a 1966 Mustang, but this one is a very special story. It's a GT K-Code owned by Henry Ford II, and it sold for $330,000.
Brake built specially for Henry Ford to drive at Le Mans during the 24-hour race weekend. Special paint, special tan leather. Prototype bucket seats from what would end up on the '67 Cougar. A Ford Design Center prototype for styling, HF2 logos prominently displayed, and then loaded with options. One of one.
You know, the Deuce, or Henry Ford II, was not fooling around. He had this based on a K car, 271 solid lifter, 289. Good stuff.
So if you look inside and you look at these seats, and they don't look quite Mustang the way you would expect, that's because these are from a 1967 Cougar. It was a little bit of a, well, moving forward kind of style that they have.
Well, being, of course, Henry Ford II, he had access to pre-production prototype parts, and I'm going to bet you these are just that, pre-production parts that were under evaluation for future Cougars. And he says, you know, I'll take those, put them in the car. Here we have them.
And another little cool thing, when the car finally rolls to a stop, we're going to show you the center of the steering wheel. There you see it. It says HF2, Henry Ford II.
Now, I know the fellow who owns the Le Mans winning Ford GT from 1966, and wouldn't this look great parked in his collection alongside it? Perhaps he is one of the multiple phone bidders on this car as we cross $200,000.
And the car's actually spent the bulk of its life in France. It's only come to the United States fairly recently.
Around at 220, 230.
4-speed manual transmission, a one-off dashboard with a Shelby-esque instrument pod, but again, that is not something that's out of a Shelby Mustang. That was made by Ford Special Department for this car.
Really, this is a truly unique and interesting piece of automotive history. Full records behind it. We know exactly why it was built, where it was built, what it was used for, where it's been for the bulk of its life, and now it's here at Barrett-Jackson. I think it's a very interesting car.
That '66 Le Mans winner was reportedly restored at a cost of about 100 times what this car is bid. I really think they ought to be a pair. They're the same color, after all, raven black.
Of course, Henry Ford II was the eldest grandson of Henry Ford. Henry II's father was Edsel Ford. Henry II was president of Ford between 1945 and 1960, then the CEO through 1979.
So,
$300,000 sends Henry Ford II 66 Ford Mustang convertible to its new home.
Number 9 on the Las Vegas top sales. Well, it's a true celebrity car. This one, it's a 1970 Maserati Ghibli, used to be owned by Frank Sinatra, old Blue Eyes himself. This one sold for $330,000.
This beautiful Maserati Ghibli was sold new to Frank Sinatra's family, who sold it to actor George Hamilton, who sold it to Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's. $280,000 so far.
Well, the Ghibli name has been used multiple times. In fact, it's now a Maserati again, and the lines on this are spectacular, and so is the money.
You got it. They dropped it. They dropped it. Congratulations, Ernie. 300.
Wow, you talk about provenance. Frank's son-in-law bought this car brand new and then sold it to old Blue Eyes, who had it registered in his name.
For the number 8 sale, we went modern. 2011. In this case, it's a Porsche Speedster, and this one sold for $385,000.
Lot 741, built to commemorate the 25th anniversary of Porsche's exclusive in-house design team, the 2011 Speedster.
Now, they limited production to these to only 356 as a tribute to the Speedster. The price on these was double what a normal 911 convertible would be, but very exclusive and beautiful, of course, with that rear end.
Yeah, this one has just 1,700 miles on the odometer, more than 400 horsepower, and like you say, a hugely expensive option, but that meant you were in a very exclusive club.
One of the key features on the Speedster was the A-frame, the windshield frame, 70 millimeters shorter than that found on the regular Carrera, the 997 Cabriolet. Has same rake, and of course also the tonneau-esque cover on the back. That's not a kit, that's factory stuff, only on the Speedster.
Porsche knew a good thing when they saw one. In 2019, they launched another Speedster, and that one has been selling for roughly 3 times the price at resale of a normal 911 Carrera cab.
Now, this Porsche has the PDK gearbox, which is a fantastic transmission, not manual.
Sold over the internet for $350,000.
It turns out $385,000 for that Porsche tied our next car. It's a 1970 Camaro. This one, it's nicknamed the Grinch, full custom, and it also sold for $385,000.
Lot number 770, 1970 Chevrolet Camaro Custom Coupe, the Grinch. Known as the Grinch, was custom built by the Ring brothers and unveiled at SEMA. Numerous body modifications, including flared wheel openings, extended rocker panels, quarter panels, and the fenders, powered by a Wagner Motorsport 602 horsepower LS3 V8 engine.
One of the stars of the show right here.
I'll try to give it about 300, I'll give it 200. I'm at 25, 50, 60. I'm at $60, $70, I'm at a body, but I get $80,000, 80, down to, and down to, it's 200. It's 225. I'm at 225. I'm at 210. It's I'm at about 10. It's down 10, 20. I'm at down 20, 30. I'm at 30, I'm at about 230. And about 30. It's about 30, 40. It's about 50. It's 250. It's 50, 60. It's about 60. It's down 70. It's 270, 270. It's about 70. How 80? It's 80, 280. And down 100. It's 290. Down 93. It's down 3, 5, 3. It's down 3. It's down 300. It's down 300. 50, 60. I'm at 350, 60, and high. Sold it.
And if you like customs, well, you're going to love our number 6 sale from the Barrett-Jackson Las Vegas auction. It's a 1963 Corvette split window. Very special, unique, custom all the way. And this one came so close to $400,000. Final sales price, $396,000. We just can't get enough 63s today, these split windows. We've seen one that was customized already. We saw one that was pretty dead stock, although it had that special fuel-injected engine. And now we've gone back to the custom world. In this case, it's a 1963 split window that had more than 4,000 hours of build time going into it. It was for the SEMA show. And boy, it looks pretty spectacular. I love the way, as you point out, it's been dipped, meaning everything, with the exception perhaps of those side pipes that should be chromed, is now white.
A little while ago you mentioned, Rick, that there were enough of these to go around. In India, there were 10,594 split windows built in 63. And again, the only year that the divider, the spine, was used on these was gone in 64. But again, with over 10,000, there's plenty to go around for the hot rodders and the restorers alike.
376 cubic inch engine underneath the hood, coming out a total of 525 horsepower.
An interesting touch here, while the stainless steel trim that ordinarily would surround the window panes here has been removed, these are flush fitting with sort of a blacked out perimeter which covers up the adhesive which is used to secure the glass to the body. So kind of a modernized touch. And I'm going to bet you that cuts down on wind noise, which is why modern car makers do it. Of course, up at the front too, the stainless is gone. The air comes right up and over and doesn't make any whistling sounds. I'm sure that's not why it was done here. It's far more sanitary, but there it is.
I'm remember talking with a Corvette guy a few years ago, and I was saying, well, why are you bringing the customs as opposed to the original? I said, you know, he says, sometimes getting it just right to NCRS levels is so hard and so complicated and worrying about every little detail that I could just build something I like, have fun with it, and these days, because of the high dollars the Corvette resto mods are bringing, he can get just as much money and not have to worry about all those intricate details.
Number 5 on the day, as far as high bids at $360,000, and that is where the hammer falls. All right, let's join.
Midway through our top 10 overall sales from the Barrett-Jackson Las Vegas auction. And before we get to number 5, don't forget to go to the Barrett-Jackson logo right down there and click to subscribe to the entire top 10 series. All right, some cars are important because they were driven by celebrities. Well, some cars are important because they are a celebrity. This car has both. It's a 1994 Toyota Supra that it was in not one, but 2 Fast and Furious movies, and it sold for $550,000.
Well, here we go. We have at least half a dozen phone bidders involved on this, the most anticipated car of this auction, the 1994 Toyota Supra Fast and Furious movie car.
Fast and Furious films, The Fast and the Furious, and Too Fast, Too Furious as well. It comes with extensive documentation. That documentation to come with the car includes a certificate of authenticity. The car was built by Eddie Paul.
So this car was built for the 2001 movie and the 2003 movie by Eddie Paul at the Shark Shop in El Segundo, California, and then brought back for the sequel for its role as Slapjack's Supra.
Yeah, that color is Lamborghini Diablo candy orange paint. That style on the side, Troy Lee nuclear gladiator look to it. Man, this is big and bold and loud.
Now they built several of these Supras for the film. This one is a very significant one. It was used in a lot of the stunts in the film, but under the hood, it's a pretty stock 2JZ. It's not the pretty car that they pop the hood to show off modifications. Also an automatic transmission, but a heavily used stunt car.
This is a 4th generation Supra. These were built between 1993 and 2002. And while they do have a steel unibody, they were creeping in the use of lightweight metals, including an aluminum hood, which has been sliced a bit here for effect on the movie car.
So they have added several phone operators to the phone banks here because of the interest in this car. Never seen so many people working the phone and the internet at Barrett-Jackson on one car.
And Craig Jackson was saying earlier, he has been getting just pummeled with people who want to know about this car. So as you mentioned, around the world, people are interested in buying this.
You got to be 475. Now they got 475. You got to be 500.
Way back when I was at Hot Rod Magazine, I did a how-to paint video with Eddie Paul, and he told me he set a record in the Guinness Book of World Record. He actually rode a motorcycle from LA to Las Vegas doing a wheelie. Look it up. Eddie Paul actually did a wheelie from LA to Las Vegas on the rear tire only. Crazy.
Now the graphics down the side of this car, it's a man throwing a javelin or a robot, but in the memes on the internet they call it the pull my finger man because he's sticking his finger out like you want to pull it.
$500,000 of movie memorabilia that you can drive.
Everybody through, everybody down, and $550,000, and $550,000, that car is sold for $500,000. Coming on the phone.
$500,000 to a phone bidder.
Our overall top sales from Las Vegas was a great mix of new and old custom stock, and this is spectacular. It's a 1965, it's a 289 Cobra. This is a real deal. CSX number 2439, and this one sold for $907,500.
Title in
So to be
transit lot
clear, this
462.
car was bought new in Bristol, Tennessee. The second owner's son wrecked it. It was rebuilt. It was used in the movie Cannonball Run where a crane fell on it. They couldn't decide on the salvage value. Somebody bought it. They restored it. Now it is fully restored again to as new spec.
And this one has a chassis number which reads CSX2439. There's a photograph right here where it's stamped into the frame. That's correct. CSX stands not for Carroll Shelby Experimental, but for Carroll Shelby Export, as in from Britain to the United States. This is a small block car. It's a real one, and this is a thinner skin, which is 45 thousandths thick. 427 cars got a 50 thousandths thicker skin, but this is the real thing.
Over $500,000.
Well worth it. You got to remember, this is an original Cobra 289. You know, so often we're used to seeing the recreations, which are the 429 and so wide. This has the slab sides. This is real.
I get 800 with Steve, 825, 825, 825, 825, 825. I get 800 with Steve Zindar, asking 825,000 on it. 825, 825,000 on it. Everybody through, everybody done. 825,000. You want to say one more thing there, Steve?
Real deal, folks. Documented, 100% legitimate in the registry. Chassis numbers verified. We're hoping this thing was going to do 7 figures. It's an incredible car. You're not going to get an opportunity like this very often. Take advantage of it right now.
25.50. I take it now. 850 on it. 850.
The original sales price on this car, $6,360. Now that's an investment.
875,000 on it. Everybody through. 875,000 on it. 875,500. 875,000 on it. Everybody get out. Patrick's in the lead. 875,000 on it. 875,000 on it. Everybody get in. What do you got? 825. 825. 850. Zindar, you can still get in. 825.50. 850,000 on it. Everybody get out. Everybody through and a half. Put your hands together. Sold for $825,000. Patrick.
Well, perhaps the car's checkered past held this one back a bit. It had been wrecked and restored, not once but twice, but it's been in the same collection for the last more than 20 years. And it's got a happy new owner at $825,000 plus 10% buyer's premium. And I believe that puts it well under the sales range of similar cars.
From 1965, we're going to move forward to 2019. Still with a Ford engine though. This one's a 2019 Ford GT, and this one sold more than $1 million, $1,023,000.
Here is a 2019 Ford GT, outfitted with carbon fiber wheels, carbon fiber exterior package, limited in options and in miles. 21, that's all it has.
Well, for the longest time, obviously, we did not see these come to auction because Ford had a requirement. If you were buying one, you had to hold on to it for 2 years. A few of them managed to leak out, but for the most part, well, that was held, that cap. Now we've reached the point that they can be sold, and we're seeing more and more come to auction.
So the two things that raise the number on these are low miles, which this has, and a high option count or heritage edition, which this one doesn't necessarily have, but it has some very valuable options like those carbon fiber wheels.
Speaking of exotic materials, the windshields on these are made of Gorilla Glass, which is the same stuff on your smartphone. You wondered, Gorilla Glass is chemically strengthened glass dipped in hot potassium, salt bath, and they're not indestructible, but they're pretty tough.
The original Ford GT, purely a race car designed to race at Le Mans. Of course, we all know the story about how they ultimately won 4 times in a row. Then they had the second generation Ford GT, which really wasn't a race car. A few people raced it, but not significantly. And then we've come out with the third GT, which won at Le Mans.
Yeah, these street cars go down the same assembly line as the race cars, and only after the tub is all glued together with its integral roll cage does it veer off in one direction to go to the track or one direction to be finished for the street. These are incredible to drive. I can't describe how much fun these are to drive.
Once again, ultimately, it's just a race car in street trim.
You know, keep in mind, these were astonishing times we're living in, because back in the 60s, the original GT40, Ford did not even dream of selling those to the public. Yeah, a couple street cars came out, but Ford has flipped the script with the modern GTs, both generations. These are street cars, and they're sold for you and me to drive every day, any way we want. It's an amazing time to be a car enthusiast.
This sale includes a 32-foot Intech trailer with the Rail Rider loading system, and that's about a $50,000 value or more.
I love how the V6 engine plays peekaboo underneath, again, the Gorilla Glass. And that's patented by Dow Corning, the makers of that glass.
$935,000 is the hammer price.
Going to go from modern to back in the 50s for our number 2 sale of the auction. In this case, it's a 1957 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Roadster, sold for more than $1 million, $1,045,000.
Well, let's back up to 1957, where the king of the road was the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, originally a coupe, and here is the Roadster coming out of 20 years in one California collection.
Well, of course, the Gullwing is the quintessential car from the 50s, truly one of the most beautiful designs of all time. After a couple years, it was time to do something different, and they decided to make the Roadster version of it. And you gotta look underneath the hood. If Cliff can get this going, get it up, it's just the beautiful lines, the eyebrows over the tires. This thing just looks fast, even when it's sitting still. Ah, there, look under that hood.
That's beautiful. This is an inline 6 with a single overhead cam. Look at the Ram-tuned mechanical fuel injection system. Beautiful.
Top seller of the day.
Now, when they cut the top off, obviously they use conventional doors. Obviously, they're not going to use any type of a Gullwing. They actually added some weight to this, but they also added power at the same time. So the performance was pretty solid.
You're right, Rick. These are 276 pounds heavier than the Gullwing Coupe.
These cars often sell for 7 figures. Will we get there?
There were some improvements with the Roadster as well, a different rear end, better handling, of course much easier to get in and out of as well without that Gullwing door and the huge sill.
And one of the cool things, and you pointed this out yesterday when you were previewing this, and if we can get up to the very front and show in the windshield right here, you want to talk about an exclusive car and being a member of an exclusive club? We have 3 stickers right here that show Grand Prix of Monaco Formula One Casino access for 2010, 2012, and 2013. Yeah, that's rarefied air. Honestly, up close, there is nothing not to like about this car. It is beautiful on every level.
$950,000 is the hammer price.
Time for the number 1 overall sale from the Barrett-Jackson Las Vegas Collector Car Auction. Before we get there, though, don't forget to go to the Barrett-Jackson logo right down there to click and subscribe to our entire Top 10 series. And the number 1 sale, very modern, a supercar. A McLaren P1 sold for $1,567,500. This car used to be owned by deadmau5.
So if music is more your thing than the movies, let's move to lot 748, DJ deadmau5's 2015 McLaren P1.
Well, we called this a hypercar yesterday, which is kind of the next generation above supercars. And it's not just the money, it's the technology associated. When you talk hypercar, you're talking something really special. That's what you have underneath this.
That's correct. You have a hybrid drivetrain, which in this case, the turbo lag from the engine in the back is made up for by electric power. It also has a 20-mile range in all electric. The top speed over 200 miles an hour, but the MPG an average of 34 miles per gallon. So it's a very interesting dynamic there, back and forth between efficiency and power. Incredible.
Under 3,200 miles on the clock.
And right now, $600,000, $700,000 bid.
Now million.
DJ Deadmau5 was
1 million's bid.
It got to $1 million fast because it can get to speed fast. 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. 0 to 180 in 16 and a half seconds.
And we are current.
$1,000,003, buddy. $1,000,003, $1,000,004. Give me. You want to be $1,350,000? $1,004,000. $1,004,000. Yeah, it's got to be $1,004,000. Has to be $1,004,000. Give it to me now. $1,004,000. $1,004,000. That'll win the car, I think. Yeah, $1,004,000 if you want it. It'll win it. He's got $1,350,000. You give me $1,004,000, I think it'll win it.
By the way, the speed is electronically limited in this. You can't go above 217 miles an hour.
Now, DJ Deadmau5 was born Joel Thomas Zimmerman in 1981 in Canada. His father was a GM plant worker, and like Wayne Newton, well, he didn't follow in his father's automotive footsteps, and look what happened.
Approaching $1,005,000. This thing had an original MSRP of about $1.1 million before options, so we've exceeded that. Certainly living up to the hypercar Holy Trinity name, along with the LaFerrari and the 918 Spider. Porsche.
You sure you don't want it? $1,450,000. $1,450,000.
$1,425,000. Holy nightlife, Batman. I mean, that thing shot up to $1 million as quick as the Batmobile did several years ago at Barrett-Jackson. That's incredible.
So that's it for the Barrett-Jackson Top 10 from Las Vegas, the overall sales. This was such a great Top 10. I know you want to watch another one. There's one right there. Just wait, it'll pop right up. I'm Rick DeBrule. Thanks for joining us.